see. All right, testing. All right, guys, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me. It is Friday, January 21, 2022. Before we begin, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, little white logo, click on that, turn notifications, subscribe to our channel. Make sure to like these videos if you do enjoy them. Also, comment any of your questions, here to help in any way I can. Apologize for not doing the aftermarket recap yesterday. I was out of the office, but again, I'm here today, this morning, and I'll be doing the aftermarket recap today as well. So, kind of a crazy day yesterday. We had more of a fall. We did hit IWM a couple of times yesterday, but now we're getting near to some key levels. So let's go ahead and go over the market. Dow futures down 87 points, Nasdaq down 117. Down 0.79%. A lot of that is Netflix. Netflix being down about 19% pre-market is bringing down like Disney, bringing down Roku, a lot of the streaming names. S&P futures down 0.46%. We're also down 0.40%, 2013. Crude oil is down 0.46%. Gasoline futures down 0.56% at $2.45. Gold is slightly flat, about $18.41 an ounce. $24.60 for silver futures. Down 0.45%. Taking a look at Forex, 30 pips to the upside for euro dollar, 113.50. Dollar yen down 44 pips, 113.67. Crypto taking a bath here, 27.97 for Ethereum futures, down 12%. Bitcoin futures down to 38,430, down 10%. Okay, tons of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff coming in from Diz. So let's go over some headlines first that I wanted to show you guys. Take a look at this. Let me go ahead and bring this up. There's something that I really was interested in and I want to show you guys. Very, very key stuff. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq first. We are now by a slim margin. The Nasdaq's drawdown is now worse than its September 2020 pullback, and it's worse since May 2020. So we are now really getting to a point of critical levels, that we're heading to the point of negativity. This is something I have been waiting for, and I've been pounding the table and saying, not all dips are created equal. We're waiting for a correction. Remember that. Waiting for a correction. Been repeating that. Waiting for a correction. Yes, of course, buy SPY. I bought some SPY G yesterday. Goldman Sachs earlier this week after earnings. But again, we're starting to get to the point where people are going to start throwing the towel, and the capitulation's here. That's what I want. Good. Let's take a look at this chart here. Nasdaq investor sentiment is worse now than it was in March 2020. That is music to my ears. Twitter has now become almost the pulse of Wall Street traders, which is amazing because it's free. That's an extremely aggressive bearish posture. Bottom of 1.8% of all day since 2000. Would you say that we're at a worse point today in tech stocks than we are in March 2020 when COVID was starting and we're having to the point of lockdowns? It's overdone. That's it. It's pretty much done. Look at that. We're right near March 2020 bottom. This is to the point that it's too bearish. Now we're starting to look at a bounce. Finally, we're almost there. Now you're probably saying to yourself, well, Carlos, that's fine and dandy. Are we at a bottom? Almost. So close. Here are the levels we're looking for. Let's do that, and then we'll take a look at some pre-market movers. I'm going to go ahead and show you here on E-mini futures. This is the S&P. You know me and the S&P. I love it. 200-day is right at 44.23. I want 4,400. 4,400 to me, I'm starting to buy. Now, again, what is the downside remaining? We can get to around 43.50, 43.20. That's about 70, 80 points back from the level where I'm going to start buying some more. Again, I did this playbook in March 2020 where everyone was really bearish and everyone was freaking out. That's what I want. That's a good thing for me. Again, I'm not worried about, the market being at all-time high because I'm not buying anything at all-time highs other than my weekly stuff. But again, these are the times where I want to start loading up on some core names. I'm going to focus more on core names and then just a little bit of speculation. A little bit of speculation like an ARKK, that sort of thing. If I wanted to add some more Upstart or some Zoom or Teladoc, I'd probably go there. But I think I really want to go some more ARKK if that's the case. Would I turn ARKK into a core holding? No. but I think I would probably go a little more, add a little bit of speculation there and just ride the wave up if we get a bounce. I think at worst case scenario we get to would be right around 4,200, maybe 4,000. I think 4,000 is basically the worst case scenario. But with that being said, let's go over some numbers before we continue. So we know that high on S&P futures is 4808. So let's go ahead and do some math here. If we're at a 10% decline from 4808, that'll be 480 points off. That's a 10% correction. So let's go ahead and do that number. 4808 minus 480. Oops. 4808 minus 480. That's 4328. That's your 10% level on S&P, which is 4328. 20%, let's go ahead and do that. 20% would be 961. So if we go to 4808 minus 961, that's 3847. That's a bear market. That's a complete bearish market. Now, if we're going to go ahead and retest the fall of COVID, 37% decline. That's the max drawdown we had from March 2020 from the highs in February 2020. Remember, that was the low. Now, I think that was around March or April. So let's do that together. 37% taken away from 4808 is 1,778. So let's do that again. 4808 minus 1778. That would be 3,030. We're not going to hit that. let me save everyone the suspense. We're not going to get there. That would be right here, 3808. Granted, we got as low as 2,200, 2,100 on the S&P on COVID, the COVID lows. We're not going to get there. So even with that, we'd be at higher highs. But now I wrote it down. 10% is 4328. So the correction level I have for 4,400 is not exactly a 10% correction. It's close, but it's not exactly. Does it really matter if it's exact? No. But again, moving averages will help us. Our moving average for the 200-day on a daily chart is 4421. We're 20 points above that. 4,400 is the level I'm looking for. So again, a lot of this is kind of setting up here where we might get a short squeeze, where you get so many people bearish. Now, here's where the market's going to come in. You're going to get analysts who are just going to say, forget it. We're going to lower everything, and they're going to be terrified. And that's okay. They're going to throw in the towel. You're going to get the bearish sentiment. We've gotten that. And then when you start seeing everything sell off, things that are doing extremely well, that's when you know the pessimism is there. Yields are going down. That means bonds are being bought. Okay, fine. The dollar is selling off a little bit. Crude oil is selling off a little bit. Crude oil has been doing great. In terms of the commodities, gold has been doing okay, broke out. That's pretty flat. Silver coming down a little bit. But oil's kind of telling me something. You know, if oil is being sold off, then that's could just be in liquidation because there's really no reason for oil to be down. And of course, we know cryptocurrency being a leading indicator. Oh yeah, they're going to take a hit too. We know that it's volatile. So let's take a look at the daily on Bitcoin and see exactly where the next support is. Really, your next level of support, if we're looking at support level 1, is right around 37.81. Again, not the worst thing in the world. We got as low as 28.05. Right around 31,000. I would say that's kind of the level we're looking for. 33 to 31, I can live with buying more. But I buy some every week, so that doesn't really change. You're talking about possibly just adding more? Okay, I would say wait for 32 to around 35. Going to Ethereum, you could see that the next support level is right around 27.30. We're at 27.87. We should hold up to here. The support level 2 is right around 23.22, and max pain bottom short term daily is around 1,700. I would say below 2,000 seems about right, where I would probably be loading up more on Ethereum. But those are the only two I would probably want to load up more on. I'd rather be into more stocks because I have a good amount of crypto and I've been buying every week. So again, that just works for me. So those are the levels we're looking for. If we want to write that down, again, I have my S&P levels. Let's go ahead and write Bitcoin levels and Ethereum levels. So Ethereum levels I'm writing down, we're going to go 2,700. Again, that's a first level to look for. That's your first support. Next support would be around at 2340, and then max pain bottom is around 1700. You can put watch for 2K. Again, nothing wrong from this price action. That's what you get with a cryptocurrency, where you get a lot of volatility. Again, does it mean that cryptocurrency is over? No, not at all. Again, a lot of people are selling their assets for some reason because inflation's high. Sure, okay. Let's sell assets and stack less valuable dollars because inflation's up. So we basically, in the Nasdaq, because of one rate hike that's possibly coming in March, more likely it's going to come in March, or 3 rate hikes. So that's 0.75% in a rate hike. Does that equate to 10% fall in Nasdaq? Wow, if that's the case and we get rate hikes down the future, I mean, how far can it go? Can we get 50% down on Nasdaq? Probably not. Again, this reminds me a lot of 2018 December, when the Fed actually raised rates in December and we had a nice fat drawdown. Now, back then, it was completely like just taken aback. The market couldn't handle it. So you have one or two scenarios where if the Fed sees that asset prices are completely falling off a cliff, which I can't say cliff, but falling, then does the Fed raise rates? Is this add pressure to them to not do it? That's kind of the push-pull now. Now you probably say, oh, inflation. Well, if asset prices are falling, then inflation wouldn't be there, right? Because prices are going down, supply and demand. So is that what the Fed is achieving? Maybe, could be it. But again, that remains to be seen, because at the end of the day, we are still looking long-term. It's only January. It's not even the end of the month. And we're getting a 10% correction. That's great. Knock it out of the park, because we've had this many times before. We had a 10% correction in the Nasdaq twice in 2021. And what happened there? We did fine. You could see here, Nasdaq 10% correction. 2020, we had 2 of them. 2021, we had 2 of them, and we bounced. Nothing, I mean, it's the same thing over and over. But everyone wants to panic, and I get it. That's kind of the narrative of the market. Sure. All right, let's take a look at some pre-market movers. Let's go to United States stocks and see. SoFi is down about 0.47%. Netflix down 21%. Peloton was price upgraded today. They're up 4.5%. Apple's down 0.99%. We're going to go to the Dow now. We're going to go to Walt Disney, down 4.29%. Thank you, Netflix. Microsoft down 0.48%. All that good stuff. Boeing down 0.51%. Ford Motor Company down 2.31%. The semiconductors are taking a hit, down 2%. I'm going to be watching NVIDIA. I'm going to be watching AMD for some opportunities, down 1.5% on AMD. Nasdaq, let's see, Lucid up 0.49%. JD.com up 0.32%. So again, you could see markets are getting there to that point of capitulation. That's what we call it. Maximum bearishness, where the world's ending. I've heard this many times before. So 4,400 is what I'm watching on the market. Now let's take a look at SPY for a trade, possible trade. Let's go ahead and go to the hourly chart on SPY. No, it's on Qs, excuse me. I think I had it on Qs. There you go. So yesterday I sent out IWM on unusual options activity on Twitter. If you followed on Twitter, which is free, you would have caught easily 170% on the trade, because I posted that unusual options activity. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. This is why I blog all day on the market. It's the better way to do it, because on Instagram, you'll miss it. But if I put it on Twitter and you turn on notifications, you won't miss it. So here you go. Let me take a look here for you. I had it here. I had it here, and now answer some questions. My apologies. Here we go. This was sent out about 11:25 a.m. yesterday. Some unusual volume here. Watching IWM January 28, 206 puts at 21K have volume. And what happened? We're at 199 or so, or below 200. So we get as high as 170% on that trade. I wasn't updating anymore. But if you follow that, well done. And of course, guys, be smart. If you see something we're seeing, do your own research and take a look at it. And again, Twitter is free. Twitter is free, mind you. Just saying. So QQQ, if we get a short squeeze today with OPEX, which can completely happen, we could get bids in the morning. 360 is your strike price. If 360 does break, follow the money, take a look at the 362 calls, and then you move on. Again, I wouldn't hold it over the weekend. But again, we may get a bounce today. Don't be surprised if we get a short squeeze. All the shorts are throwing in the towel. Again, 360 break on Qs. I'm watching. If we start breaking lows, then we can short. Again, nothing wrong with buying puts, guys. I do buy puts. Again, in a correction, you buy puts, of course. But again, it's been kind of those buy the dip markets until now. Now we're at a point of sell the rip market, which is good because of the fact that we're getting really just the point of maximum pessimism. And that's something that I really want to see. That usually indicates a bottom. All right, good morning. At what level of Nasdaq do you assume of the rebound? So here is a couple of levels on the Nasdaq that where you start seeing, okay, we're starting to get to that point. Right now, the bottom is right around 14,418. That'll just be revisit of the lows. Really, the level I would say that's it. That's your floor is right around 14,000. That's your floor. But support level 1 is right around 14,370 because that's the October lows. If we get to 14,000, that'll get us to the beginning of the breakout, which was right around June. And it was almost like a triple top. If you guys remember, for around June, we had February pop, we had a May pop, a June pop, and we finally broke out. So we were just doing a round trip to 14,000. So 14,000, that's it. If we break below that, okay, yeah, then it's a little bit worrisome if that's the case, if you're a trader, if that's the case. But if you're an index investor, you're not really worried. But 14, I would say 14.3, 14.350 first, and then 14,000. Break 14,000, put the kids to bed because it's going to get a little ugly. Do you think sell-off will continue through the day? I don't. I think we're going to get a bounce, a real technical bounce in terms of short squeezing, especially with OPEX. If you have so many people bearish, again, and it's the options expiry day, you're going to get a lot of people have to close, meaning they have to buy. So I do expect us to bounce today. If we break down a little more, that's fine. But again, I do expect us to bounce today. Good morning, Carlos. Which of the Fang stocks would you say is the most undervalued right now? Undervalued in Fang, out of all of them, is Facebook, in my opinion. Facebook would be the most undervalued one. Yes. Do you think Apple could buy Netflix? No. Netflix is too overvalued it would be too expensive for Netflix to buy. I think, again, I don't like to speculate because I'm not the CEO of those companies. If I were Apple, I pick up the phone and call Disney. I think those two together would be a powerhouse. Apple has tons of money. Disney's kind of burning cash. That'd be like meaning like. That works. There was a rumor yesterday that Apple was going to buy Peloton. That doesn't make sense. I think Peloton and Netflix would work. That makes sense. That would be dope. Do you think antitrust bill the Senate signed yesterday will affect big tech? I did not read anything regarding the antitrust bill. More times than not, these big tech firms have had issues with antitrust and they've been fine. That from usually what happens. With all this pullback, I don't see bonds picking up. I don't understand as all this inflation talk, everyone wants to go in cash. Right around 1.9%, that seems to be that resistance according to Bank of America research, where buying of bonds starts coming in. And we see that yields are down today to 1.756. Bond buying is happening. So I expect a little bit of a pullback in yields, yes. So again, right around 1.92%, we've been saying that. That's kind of resistance. We're starting to hit that top on bond yields. Granted, that may help Nasdaq and tech. So again, I think more than anything else, this is just a washout targeted at getting at Reddit and the Wall Street Bets crew and the people who don't know what they're doing. They're going to get washed out, and they're going to be a generation of investors that will never invest again. And they're just going to be pissed off. And that's what happens when people gamble. And that's where it's going to get to the point where those who did things correctly, that invested in the right companies, they're going to be fine long term. But the ones that are gambling, they're going to get their pants handed to them, unfortunately. Are we about to boom? Her Bitcoin whales are heavy on longs. That'd be great because I'm still long Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, I mean, of course, I still think Bitcoin down the line. Bitcoin has had so many drawdowns. I mean, that's something that you're just used to as an investor. Hence why they're speculative. Could we get a boom? I mean, depends on the time frame. Today, I don't think so. I don't think we get a boom today. But down the line, yeah, we'll revisit all-time highs. I would expect to revisit all-time highs by this year. Absolutely. I thought we were going to hit 100,000 last year. Shoot, that may not be out of proportion to go this year. I still believe in Bitcoin and crypto, in my opinion. But the problem is that you have a lot of people who are levered traders, and that hurts Bitcoin. And again, if you've made so much money on Bitcoin and your growth stocks are down, you're going to have to sell Bitcoin in order to prop up stock. to prop up your portfolio. Again, it becomes this real ugly kind of, game where they have to sell an asset to cover an asset. Not smart, but that's what happens. And VIX levels for today, let's take a look at it. Wow, 119.19. Wow, we had IWM puts yesterday. It was a mess. IWM, we had it, and then it broke invalidation level. We closed it, got back in twice, did well. 27.37 is your short-term resistance. If that breaks, next is right around 30.7 to 31. Really, your maximum level of fear is right around 35.37. So we're starting to get to the point of that kind of a triple top that was kind of broken. So we're starting to get close to that level, guys. We're closer to the end than we are of the beginning, if I could just say that, in terms of the correction. We're closer to the bottom than we are just getting started. Hopefully that makes sense. Do you expect Nasdaq to drop another 5 to 10 next weeks? No, I don't. Great for long-term investing. Thank you. I agree. I think that's exactly what it is. Put it on Instagram. Twitter is bad. I'm not putting it on Instagram because A, you're not going to see it on time. B, there's bots everywhere. So no, it's going to be on Twitter. Twitter is a lot cleaner. You won't miss a thing. Instagram, you'll miss it guaranteed. Are you adding Netflix at this price? No, I'm not adding Netflix on this price. Again, I haven't had a deep dive into their earnings yet, but yeah, it's not on the top of my list, let's just say. They're so beholden to subscriber growth based on their stock price. I think Disney is a better play in terms of streaming because they actually have theme parks, the movie studios as well, and other sources of revenue that Netflix doesn't have. Netflix is really just beholden to subscriber growth, and that's a tough thing because how much can you grow? How much can you grow unless they plan to offer Netflix on the moon? And there's people there. How much can you grow? That's the tough part. You start hitting a saturation of the market where you start hitting the top. Netflix is tough. Thoughts on Microsoft earning next week? That's the next shoe to drop if we start falling more. That'll be make or break. Now, again, a lot of companies, especially in this environment, they're probably not going to raise forecasts. They may just want to kind of enjoy the level of not having pressure because a lot of this is index-based. A lot of this is options-based. A lot of this is future-based technical selling. But a Microsoft here doesn't need to convince anyone to buy their shares. They can kind of take it easy in terms of their forecasting and then just do stock buybacks cheap. So again, if I'm the big tech companies, obviously you're going to have your earnings regardless. But forecasting, I wouldn't try to knock it out of the park because it's meaningless short term because Microsoft is such low beta, it's going to run with the market anyway. So having a high forecast is just going to add more pressure. So if I were the big cap tech companies, I wouldn't be doing anything crazy in terms of forecasting. Maybe looking at more M&A the way Microsoft has. That's smart. But to have this high forecast for the next year, a fiscal year, just to go out of their way to do so, I don't think makes sense. But they're going to have their earnings anyways. I'm not an insider of Microsoft, so I wouldn't know how their earnings are. Do they usually do well? Yes, they usually do well with earnings. But in terms of the response from the stock is completely different story. It's a roll of the dice. Whatever you're watching for AMD, let's see it. AMD next level down 115 for me, and we're right at 120. That's the level I'm looking for AMD. And SPY-G support, right at the 200-day. Your next support level will probably be right around 63. And I bought some yesterday, so I still love me some SPY-G. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning. It should be a lot of fireworks today. Don't be surprised today, guys. We get a lot of volatility with option expiry and triple witching. That's when all these futures contracts and options contracts expire all at once. We know the drill. It's the third Friday of every single month. Have a great rest of your day, guys. We'll recap it all on the aftermarket recap. Catch you then. Cheers, guys.